In the Magitorium, all types of magic are welcome. And our champions have harnessed an incredible variety. Now, they're ready to test their magical might on the battlefield. We've got fire magic, ice magic, witch magic, you know, all your standard magics. First things first, bees. Honeymancy champions summon tiny, untargetable versions of themselves, swarming their enemies with sheer numbers. The Honeymancy roster may make for a go-to reroll comp, but with the charm stacking King Beegar as your carry, you'll be a total buzzkill for your lob bees in the late game too. Sugar crafters build a cake filled with power and treats by collecting sugar for each item component your team has. Each layer you bake will power up sugar crafters with saccharine stats. When the cake is finished, more rewards are sure to come. With late game scaling, all you need is fructose and glucose, and your opponent is toast. Piece of cake. This trait summons cuddly friends. And if you hit 9 Eldritch, the biggest, cuddliest friend of all comes to scout your board. Briar will make her TFT debut as the 5-cost for Eldritch, and she's hungry as ever for friendship and blood. Satiate her hunger with your player health, and you'll grant her HP. Plus, she'll deal more damage the lower your Tactician health is. Win-win! We're also welcoming Smolder to the Convergence for the first time as the 5-cost for our Dragon trait. This little 80 carry will fly around the battlefield, attacking the nearest enemy and dropping fireballs from above. Dragon will also bring back Shyvana as a shapeshifter and Namzi from Dragonlance as a 1-cost with a fiery sneeze. Dragon's attacks and abilities burn and move, and if you can field all 3 of them, the power of their fiery friendship will upgrade all of their abilities. Then there's Witchcraft, whose units curse enemies with their abilities, making them lose a portion of their max health, take extra damage from witches, and eventually transform them into frogs. The 5-cost Queen of Witchcraft is also Queen of the Bats. Morgana sends out bats that seek nearby enemies, dealing extra damage if those enemies are low health. When her pretties kill an enemy, they have a chance to abduct it, granting a 1-star copy or one of their item components. Let the bat napping begin. Karma will be your go-to AP carry, taking up heaps of damage over time, while the 5-cost Camille creates a zone where she can bend time and her opponents to her will. To bring the time magic fantasy of Chrono to the Convergence, we're looking to the stars with Wild Rift's Stargazer skill. Like Silco from Arcane or T-Hex from Legends of Runeterra, we're always excited for timely collabs.
Charms are magical abilities that you can purchase from the shop once per round from anywhere from 20-ish gold to completely free. They do a whole host of wild and wacky things, but their power is tied to the cost and the stage they become available. You'll only be able to buy 1 per round, despite seeing multiple if you roll enough, so you'll want to pick the one that's most useful to you at any given moment. Phantom Gloves. With 3 gold, you'll get a temporary Thief's Gloves until the end of your next player combat.
A more big brain example comes from the Copycat charm, which grants you a 1-star copy of the first enemy champion to die during the next player combat. Reclamation is a cheap charm that breaks apart items on bench champions for a round. Earthquake stuns your opponent's board for 2 seconds at the start of combat, while Silver Guard makes your team immune to crowd control for the first few seconds of the fight. Talk about a hard counter.
Later in the game, you'll get offered more expensive and powerful charms, like Spawn Swarm, which for 8 gold will make it so your dying champs spawn a small void. All 5 costs. It's perfect for taking screenshots to show your friends just how lucky you are. Lastly, we have Ascendant charms, which come from Xerath, the 5-cost Arcana champion with the unique Ascendant trait. Xerath, whose ability launches a barrage of arcane blasts at enemies, can grant you access to charms like the Tower, which summons a large target dummy for a round that strikes enemies with lightning, or the Sun, which will grant you a support anvil and an artifact anvil.
You can see this philosophy at work with recommended items, augments and armory interfaces, or our favorite memory enhancer, the Team Planner. When you buy a charm, it will follow your Tactician around and show everyone in the lobby what type of magic you've got your hands on.
This is our biggest Chibi drop yet, and we're starting with a little shock and awe. Chibi Misfortune and Chibi Battle Bunny Misfortune hit the Convergence at the start of the set, just a few hours into patch 14.15. Like and subscribe. Looking for something a bit edgier? How about the Shadow Clone Assassin Gone Galactic? Chibi Galaxy Slayer Z brings a finisher that will leave your opponent gray screen alongside an entire planet in the process. Then, in the spirit of buttery, flaky goodness, Prestige Chibi Cafe Cuties Gwen will make her debut. She'll release with a widescreen splash art, a new precedent for Prestige tier content. She also has her own finisher, full of cute poses that will show you just what she's cooking. Spoiler alert, it's you. For those of you who want the full cafe experience, we're eager to serve. Or at least, these hardworking cafe bunnies are. They putter around the arena, serving croissants and sweeping up spare sticks. And become your own personal cheering squad. Get a win streak going and, well, this happens. Check out this move.
I mean, did players really want to get blitz hooked every game again? This one will bring back fan favorites like Hellion, Abomination Scion, Vertical Legionnaire, and of course, our first legendary unit that costs 6 player health instead of gold. Yep, I'm talking Teemo. Like Radiant items, Armories, Divine Blessing, all of which have inspired various portals, augments, and more.
NORRA, everyone's favorite portal-popping Yordle, will be hitting the convergence as a 5 cost in our portal trait. The trait is the perfect match for NORRA. The only thing she loves more than tea, cats, and magic is when all of those things fall out of a portal at random. The trait shields portal units and then ejects random stuff throughout combat. We're talking about things like Ziggs bombs that deal magic damage, Horo snacks that heal your allies, maybe even a wild Krug. We can't have NORRA without her feline companion. NORRA's legendary Explorer trait brings Yuumi along for the ride. Yuumi will fly around on book, helping out her friends, and using her ability when NORRA casts hers. There's lots more magic and mayhem to discover, so be sure to check out NORRA and the rest of the roster when the set goes live with patch 14.15 on July 30th. See you then.